It's International Women's Day, and we're very excited about that at Human Angle. But as people who are constantly working with women who have faced a lot of discrimination, disadvantage, economic lack, and various other forms of inequalities, we know for sure that this day means something entirely different for women in displacement camps in Northeast Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Northwestern Nigeria, and other parts of war-torn Africa. And so I am here today with two very powerful women, Oluwatosi and Chigozie. Together, we will be talking about the International Women's Day, what it means to celebrate and reinforce the need for equity and equality socially, politically, economically, in every way possible, really, for women of all class. And before we begin, I'm just going to share a very important point with us that I want you to hold on as a thought. Nigeria may be the giant of Africa, but it might interest you to know that we have the lowest amount of people, of women at national and subnational levels in parliament. That's definitely something to think about. So as we talk about the International Women's Day today, we would like to begin with the personal gender goals that Human Angle has in place. I think it would be fair to say that we have surpassed all of the gender goals that we have for reasons that I'm sure my colleagues and I are going to share as we go into this discussion. Hi, Tosin. So good to have you here.
Thank you, Hawa.
Hi, Chigozie.
Hi.
Okay, like I said, we are mainly going to be talking about the gender imbalance issues that we have been facing in the country across various spheres, say even in IDP camps, at decision-making levels and all of that. But, they say you always have to start from home, and so we're starting from Human Angle. At Human Angle, I think we've been able to achieve a 50-50 gender workforce, which I think is quite commendable, especially seeing as when you take a look at other organizations who are doing some work in the same space that we are.
I agree. I quite agree with you that it is very commendable that Human Angle has been able to achieve 50-50 gender representation. At least I've been here about a month now, and it's we're not just talking, we're walking the walk. And it's also helpful that the leads, most of the departmental leads are women. And
we have 4 departments, and 3 out of the 4 are led by women. We have Hawa heading the editorial, we have Hamida operations, and we have Eukaria for finance. And then Human Angle Foundation is headed by Tosin here. And all the staff in Human Angle Foundation, interestingly, are women. So
enough of Human Angle. Let's talk about the levels of representation that we have at national and subnational levels. I was saying earlier how it's so ironic that Nigeria is the giant of Africa, but we have the least amount of women in decision-making bodies all over the country. I think we do. There is the Belgian parliament says that the ideal would be for at least 30% of these seats to be occupied by women, but Nigeria does not even meet up to 5%. We are at 3.8%. That's actually very disheartening. And we're still talking about, say, women at the House of Representatives and at NAS. We aren't talking yet about women who are not as empowered as us, as women in these decision-making bodies. Say, women in IDP camps in Borno, in Cameroon, in Northwest Nigeria, and basically all over the African continent. I wonder, in your work, Chigo, documenting these experiences from disadvantaged women, what would you say the International Women's Day means to these people? Does it mean anything to them at all?
I don't think it means anything, because during International Women's Day, you hear a lot of talk about equality and equity. That's like a long way away from what these women are going through. They don't even have the basic human rights, the rights that a human being should have, basically. And more than that, when they are in these places, I know some people might disagree, but they are more disadvantaged than the men. Just this morning, we were talking about aid distribution in IDP camps, and how they have the whole household thing, and the head of the household is, of course, the man. He gets the lion's share, and the woman gets the lesser share, even though she's responsible for feeding the children. And also organizations like, I can't remember now, but international organizations, they've talked about how women are more disadvantaged. These women in IDP camp, displaced women, they are more disadvantaged and they are more food insecure because of the socio-cultural, gender roles, because typically a woman is supposed to take care of the home. So others get to eat before her, and even her daughters as well, they grow up learning that, all your siblings have to eat before you eat. Your father has to eat before you eat. You're responsible for cooking, you're responsible for going out to get firewood, all of that. So for these women, I think we're speaking from a point of privilege when we talk about equality and equity. For them, it's...
Now that you talk about firewood, I've spoken with women in Borno State, women in IDP camps there, who say that every time they go out into the forest to try to get firewood for cooking or even sometimes for sale, sometimes they get accosted by Boko Haram terrorists. Sometimes they whip them and then warn them to never return. Sometimes they abduct them and all of that. But you know what I found most interesting? These women are still going there every day. They know the risks associated with it. They know they may be punished. They may even be killed. They may be abducted. But they go back because for them there is no other option. Because the family has to eat.
They have the responsibility for their families.
Exactly. And so you see that sometimes when we have these conversations, it excludes them, even though it's not intentionally, because they have not even reached a certain level that allows them to begin to want for equity or equality, especially as it relates to technology, which is the theme of this year's International Women's Day.
Like, it's a far cry from, they need to be able to eat first. They need to be able to be treated as human beings first. Do you understand? Before we even talk about technology and all of that.
So it's interesting that in a country that is the most populated in Africa and has an almost even split of gender, men, women, almost 50%, the ninth house had just about 21 females out of 469. Very disgraceful, which is less than the 35% stated in the National Gender Policy of 2006. It's also very shameful that last year, if you do recall, that the House shut down 5 bills that were targeted towards women. And if not for protests by feminists and men who supported movements, about 3 of those bills were brought back, but yet to be voted upon. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. But my point is that it's very shameful that we don't even have the numbers that would help us to even enact laws that will favor women in these camps. We've just passed the National Assembly elections, was just barely maybe a week ago or so. So far, we have just 3 women in Senate. That's 3 out of 109. And what is my 12 out of 306, which is even less than the 21 that we had in the Ninth Assembly. So fingers crossed that again, we don't have all the numbers for women because we have elections that are pending in some regions. So fingers crossed that when those elections hold, we have more women. We doubt it, but again, my point is it hurts. It's shameful because we cannot fight for women. We cannot fight for equality and equity if we don't even have the numbers. If we don't have the numbers between, and I'm just to help us understand the difference between equality and equity. I was watching a video recently and someone explained it like this. A mother has 2 kids and they're crying, but you know that they're hungry. And you know that one of them is, say, allergic to apples and one of them likes apples. And you decide that, you want to be equal. Let me give both of them apples. Is that fair? That's equality. You want to be equal. But equity is giving the one that's allergic to apples something else, such that at the end of the day, both of them are not hungry. So that's for folks who don't understand the difference between equality and equity. That just stuck in my brain. I struggled with the meaning of equality and equity for a while, but I watched that video, and that was, this is it. Going back to the National Assembly, because it's very, very, very sensitive, for lack of better term, that you do know that since Nigeria's entrance into democracy again, better say re-entry in 1999, we've had just one woman in a position of power in the Big Four, and that woman was not allowed to last because of so-called corruption cases, Patricia Etta or something. And you find out that the others who have been in such positions have probably done worse. But they did not give her grace.
Absolutely.
They did not give her grace.
We want women to be twice as good.
Yeah.
But it's okay for women to just be busy.
Yeah.
A lot of men are busy.
Yeah.
So why can't women be busy?
Yeah. We expect women to be perfect, to be spot on. But you find, okay, again, not to what's the word, discount whatever ill that they say she's done.
Yeah.
There's Danny Madreke. They're touting her as the evil person. We have all other men who have done worse, and they have not witch hunted them.
If we want displaced women to have better rights, equal rights in things as little as aid distribution, we need women there. We need women at the helm of affairs. Do you understand? So we need also to be able to let women get there and not make it extra hard for them to be there.
Now, it's also important, I think, to just really speak with women directly on the things that they want. Oftentimes, people ask me, oh, you go to IDP camps a lot, you confer with these people, what do you think they need? And I find that question really funny because I'm like, ask them.
They'll tell you.
I am not an authority on them. They know what they want. So why not just speak directly to them? And I think that's one thing that we do a lot when it comes to women. Rather than just confer with them directly, we think that it's okay to, ask other people who we think have the authority to be able to say, yes, exactly. And that just really distorts whatever progress that we've made or are making.
Most of these drugs have expired since 2020, 2021.
I also want to add that we have this tendency of judging all women using one woman. We have this tendency of saying, oh, this woman was allowed to head this position and look at what she has done. We can't trust women. What if we said that about men?
Whoa.
Like,
I know.
So
I
let
know.
me just stop here.
Thank you
Let me
so
stop
much.
here.
I have enjoyed having this conversation with you all. It's been incredible. I'm so glad we were able to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hawa.